And that simply says a technical issue was, quote, limiting the number of aircraft flying in the London control area in order to ensure safety. The indications are that this was a problem with the radar, not just around London, which is the busiest airspace in the world, but also, of course, affecting many other UK airports, and just leading to this sudden freezing of the aviation system, which, if you are working at full tilt, only is going to end one way, and that's with lots and lots of cancellations and delays.
We're at the end of July, and now we've had our annual dose of summer travel chaos. A rather obliquely described technical issue at the headquarters of the UK's air traffic control at Swanwick in Hampshire meant operations were suspended at Heathrow, at Gatwick, at Manchester and at Edinburgh yesterday. Travel correspondent Simon Calder joins us from Naples this morning. Good morning, Simon.
Good morning. Yes, and I'm afraid there are people listening to you, Tom, who will have arrived very bleary-eyed several hours late as a result of the many delays and diversions that took place yesterday, and thousands of people waking up where they didn't intend to be because their flights were cancelled as a result of yet another failure of air traffic control. It's an absolutely miserable picture. Just looking, for example, at Manchester, I'm seeing that EasyJet cancelled at least 10 flights in and out, including to places such as Rhodes, which is a very long trip, Tenerife, and Fida in Tunisia, and that spells every single flight that's cancelled there and back. That's 350, 400 people who are not where they need to be.
Do we know what actually caused this outage to what is frankly a piece of critical national infrastructure?
No, exactly as you say. And that simply says a technical issue was, quote, limiting the number of aircraft flying in the London control area in order to ensure safety. The indications are that this was a problem with the radar, not just around London, which is the busiest airspace in the world, but also, of course, affecting many other UK airports, and just leading to this sudden freezing of the aviation system, which, if you are working at full tilt, only is going to end one way, and that's with lots and lots of cancellations and delays.
And do we have any sense of, is this someone who has spilled their coffee over the wrong switch, or something that is much more sinister than that?
I'm sure we will find out, because, of course, this has cost the airlines millions of pounds in, for example, passenger care costs, looking after people who are stranded, finding seats on other carriers. It's lost revenue and so on. And so they will be demanding answers. Clearly, air traffic control almost all the time works extraordinarily well. It has to, because it is simply trying to extract a ridiculous amount of flying out of very, very limited infrastructure, particularly in southeast England. But as because you get this kind of delay domino effect, any disruption is going to be very problematic for the airlines, and so they are demanding that things work 100% of the time. And as you've been reporting, the Europe's biggest budget airline, Ryanair, once again calling for the head of NATS, Martin Rolfe, to resign as a result of this failure, which comes, well, almost 2 years after the infamous August bank holiday meltdown, which saw thousands of flights cancelled, and miserable times for so many passengers.
And as you're saying, Ryanair saying, why isn't there any resilience built in? Is NATS fit for purpose?
Well, there is no choice. I mean, this is an organisation that is the national airspace provider. Certainly, other organisations can come in locally and run the air traffic control at particular airports, but it's got to work not just for civil aviation but also for military aviation. But there will inevitably be more calls for somebody to come in and take a look and say, well, how much resilience have you got? Because even though both NATS and the government actually were saying, oh, this is only 20 minutes. Well, it was actually a 40-minute outage, but one which, if you suddenly say stop, then immediately you get dozens of diversions, as we saw. And on top of that, you'll also get many cancellations as the airlines try to get their planes and their pilots and their cabin crew and their passengers in the right places. So we kind of most of the time in the UK keep our fingers crossed, trying to get things to work. Most of the time it does, but on this occasion, I'm afraid it went very badly wrong for many thousands of passengers.
I suppose the question will be, is keeping our fingers crossed enough going forward? Simon Calder, travel correspondent, thank you so much for your expertise and your insight as always. Tom from Aberdeenshire gets in touch. A few people delayed for a couple of hours whilst flying. Is this really news or another indication of how much of a nanny state we have become? I suppose the question is, are we worried about the delays, Tom, or are we worried about, well, a lack of explanation as to how this crucial bit of tech just failed on us suddenly in peak season? I'm sure there will be questions to answer about that.